Hi, I'm Frank Besedniak, and thank you for joining me today. If you've ever heard me speak, read one of my articles, or watched any of my videos, you would have probably heard me say this more than once, and that is, as a business leader, it is important to manage processes, not people. As most business people know, some of the key elements in becoming successful are having a mission or goals, a roadmap to reach those goals, and measurement systems and a strategy for success. Once these basics are established, it is vitally important that systems and methods of operation are set that everyone understands. This is done so that the business team is able to handle the daily tasks as needed for maintaining normal business operation and producing quality services or products with the least amount of rework, customer complaints, and lost productivity. This program will focus on how to make sure that these specific tasks and processes in business do run efficiently. This will be done through process mapping. We'll discuss what process mapping is, why it is important, and how you could implement these methods into your business so that you will reach your objectives and dreams. Let's start by trying to imagine planning a trip somewhere. You don't have a GPS, no map, no directions, and absolutely no idea on how to get there, nor where to even start looking. How frustrating would that be? Sometimes people run their business this way. No plans, no goals, no map, no idea, no process, and really no business being in business. Process mapping allows business people a method to map out every aspect of their business, allowing for ideas, improvement methods, and task analysis for continued improvement, which results in improved profitability. And the most important part of all, a roadmap to their destination. One company that is great at systems and processes is McDonald's. I can go to just about any McDonald's in any location in North America, and the Big Mac and the fries will probably taste exactly the same as they tasted to me the last time, just as everything else on a menu does. This is one of the few organizations where they could take a 16-year-old and within a few days have them working on the front lines, greeting customers and fulfilling the customer's requests successfully most every time. And why is that? Because McDonald's has systems and processes in place that minimize error and increase productivity so that the customer gets what they ask for within a reasonable amount of time. When training a new employee, it is just a matter of showing them how the systems and processes work, practicing the tasks, then putting the person on a job. Sure, McDonald's isn't considered fine dining or what anyone would refer to as a wonderful dining experience. However, you know what you're getting, the quality is consistent, and the service is timely. So what is the actual definition of process mapping? Well, here it is. Process mapping is a technique whereby a business process or workflow is converted into a visual step-by-step diagram. Process mapping is used to better understand an existing process and to help develop a more effective one. The goal of process mapping is to improve business results. It is basically creating a roadmap from beginning to end that also includes all potential pitfalls, obstacles, and detours. So why would a business use process mapping? Well, I'm sure most of you have coached a team of youths in a sport at one time or another. I've coached Little League Baseball for quite a few years myself. In baseball and softball, everyone hopefully understands the rules of play, understands their role in the game, and hopefully everyone has practiced every possible scenario so that when a situation occurs, he or she will know what to do. Let's say we're in a baseball game and I was at bat. The pitcher throws the ball and I hit a ground ball to third. I begin running to first base, and while I'm running, the third baseman fields the ball and throws it to the pitcher. I get to first base and everyone should know I'm safe. At least I believe I'm safe, but let's imagine we have some people playing on a team that don't understand the processes and the rules of play, and they want to argue that I'm out because the third baseman threw the ball to the pitcher. And the pitcher caught the ball before I arrived at first. Let's also imagine we have another person saying I'm out because the third baseman caught the ball before I arrived at first. We all start arguing and things don't go well. Can you imagine what a screwed up mess this would be? It would probably turn into a huge fight and the game would never finish. Since I do help coach businesses, I have actually been in businesses that run this way. No one really understands the processes, there are no clearly defined rules of play, and every situation is handled as if something like that has never happened before. Process mapping is the ideal solution for these types of problems. I'm sure many of you have used a GPS to get you somewhere. A GPS takes the information you tell it and takes you turn by turn to the specific location within a projected amount of time. Basically, a GPS is like a process map set up to get you successfully from point A to point B. I could also look at a process map like a recipe. I enjoy cooking, and when I find something that really tastes great at a restaurant, I will attempt to get the recipe so I can recreate the same experience at home. In business, a process map is like a recipe that you follow that ends successfully provided you follow the specific instructions to get you there. I call it a recipe for success. Hopefully by now I've explained the benefits and fundamental basics of process mapping. So now let's talk about how this could impact your business. While in college many years ago, I learned about something called the business life cycle. The life cycle begins with, of course, the startup, several periods of growth, and eventually reaches a point where growth becomes neutral and not much is changing. This could be several years or dozens of years, depending upon market changes. Basically, you reach a point where your business is at a standstill. I call this the moment of truth. You have the option of either looking at what you do and possibly re-engineer or redeveloping or reorganizing your business with new ideas and or new processes. Or if no changes are made, the business may continue on a path that leads to decline, decay, and eventually going out of business with nothing to show for it. Let's see how we can implement process mapping. First, it is essential that you target one specific task at a time. There is no way you could sit down and decide to process map everything you do in your business all at one time and expect it to be successful. It is just way too much to take on everything at once. Let's begin with one specific part of your business. We are going to begin with one job and lay it out in pictorial form. Just for an example, we'll use the process of taking a service call over the phone. We begin by charting and writing out each specific occurrence and task as they happen and the possible scenarios. Here we will start with the phone ringing and we answer it, hopefully using a specific script. The customer states the purpose of the call, and since this is for service, let's say that they have no heat. At this point, we may have a customer who desires a quote over the phone. Here is where you would state your policy and procedure that you have to handle this and communicate it or create one if you may have no policy now. As you are building your process map, you may run into various scenarios that require a decision or policy. The process map will help identify the recommended action and enable the employee to now take the action necessary rather than contacting a supervisor or making their own decision out of thin air. Let's continue. The map will now include whatever you decide you will use for that specific customer request. As you can see here, you may include a section where you ask if this is a returning customer and now have the rep research the customer records and thank them for coming back. If the customer is a new customer, the information would be entered and confirmed. The customer would now be offered a scheduled date and time, and the process would continue. You may even include a step whereby you have the ability to recognize your customer from their caller ID or other method as the call is coming in, thus eliminating many of the steps. We now have the process laid out for taking a service call. Once this is completed, we can schedule a meeting with the phone representatives and go through each step and isolate any problem areas and come up with solutions or policies to handle each challenge with a new step to the process. What we hope to accomplish here is to handle every type of challenge in advance to be able to minimize rework or interruptions in any processes so the business can run more smoothly with the least amount of daily involvement by management and limited miscommunication. The objective here is to describe a method and or process by laying it out in pictorial form. This will provide a quick way of understanding how the main steps in a process fit together. It will also provide documentation for agreeing what happens or could happen during a process. And most importantly, improve overall performance by looking for ways to increase speed, reduce waste, and streamline operations. So let's say you've decided that you have the potential for improvement and you want to use process mapping as the means to get the improvement implemented. There are certain key steps that need to be followed. First, the process selected must be something that is important to the customer, important to the employees, and important to the overall success of the organization. Decide what the process will be. For example, it could be taking a service call on the phone, writing out an invoice, dispatching a service call, preparing for and completing a system installation, or completing a service call from start to finish. Deciding what people will be involved in a process mapping session is also very important. One person could lay out the primary map, but people who are specifically involved in the process must be there to make recommendations, point out areas where improvement is needed, and also list specific tasks that may be involved. It is also very important that someone be designated as the leader or facilitator of the meeting to keep the meeting going in the right direction. As with any other meeting, it is important to keep everyone on task. You may have some people come in with their own agenda and a list of grievances. This doesn't mean that their issues don't get any attention. Just start the meeting off with a request for any questions, issue, or ideas that may be important to those attendees. All right, I'm going to go off script here for a second. One of the things that I've always done as a manager before I had a meeting, I told people, hey, any issues you want to bring them up now. So what you're going to do is write them on a whiteboard or notepad like this. For example, they'll say, we want more overtime or whatever their issue is. And as they bring them up, write them down and take notes of them. And tell the folks that these are important, but will have to be handled at a later time because this current specific meeting is for a specific issue only. You don't want the people in the room who feel slighted because you ignored their concerns, so handle it up front. Write them all down, put them on a notepad for later use, and handle it later. Keep in mind, process mapping has specific objectives. The process is not intended to be a blaming or fault-finding session. The main objective is to improve the work process. The goal is to eliminate non-value added steps, to look for redundancy, look for and eliminate steps which do not contribute to customer satisfaction or business objectives. Eliminate or reduce inspection points. There are times in a process where someone has to confirm the quality of work or confirm accuracy. These are called inspection points. The goal here is to either condense them into one function or eliminate them altogether by improving the quality of the process and/or the tasks in the process. Identify input products or services that generate problems. What you are doing here is defining a problem that might be coming from a vendor. This may mean that you will have to include them in a process mapping meeting and have them come up with the solutions to rectify the problem or issue that they may have created. Reduce cycle time. Look for reduction in the time between steps. Shift tasks closer to the worker or workers closer to the tasks. Automate processes whenever possible. This is why we have to have people who are involved in the process at the meeting. They know firsthand what it takes to improve cycle time. And last but not least, generate ideas. There is no better place to come up with money-saving ideas than right on the job. Encourage people to think outside of the box. Sometimes the most unusual recommendations turn out to be the best. And don't forget to reward employees with money-saving ideas. Your goal is to have outcomes that improve business. For example, let's say it was decided that the objective was to improve productivity on new installations. This could result in creating a new job checklist, setting up positive examples for installation guides, better work methods, faster work methods, less mistakes, happier employees, happier customers, and improved profitability. All of these are definite pluses. Let me run through some of the key steps in process mapping again. Step 1, lay out the process step by step as it currently exists in rough form. Step 2, identify the key steps involved in each process. And step 3, find potential faults or places where errors regularly occur. And step 4, determine potential steps that may improve the process. If you follow these steps and all of the previous guidelines listed, your organization's performance and profitability will have no barriers to continued improvement. The process map also allows your organizations to set rules and guidelines for your employees to better understand what you expect from them. One more important item that I found that is essential to success: always assign a leader to follow up and make sure the proposed ideas are implemented, and always make sure there are dates in place where implementation will occur. I've seen too many times where excellent ideas were brought up. Everyone was gung-ho on what will take place, and then no one followed through. Implementation is the key to success in process mapping for performance improvement. In conclusion, there may always be a better way, but until you understand the processes, your answer may never appear. If you would like more information on process mapping, task analysis, or other business improvement programs, please contact me directly at the location listed on the following screen. Thank you so much for your time today, and God bless.